Hello and welcome to another episode of Got Therapy. I'm Dan Quigley and I'm here filling in for Dr. Baltimore here. And I'm here with Dr. Rose. How you doing, Dr. Rose?
There are two Dans here. We're both named Dan.
Yeah, that's quite the...
What's it like being a Dan?
I mean, it's pretty enjoyable. My name is kind of generic, but...
No, but it's masculine. Think about it. Dan. It carries with it a certain, like, when I think of myself, I think that I could be on a brawny, you know those towels?
Yeah.
Be that dude, you know? Doesn't it make you feel like...
Is it because it rhymes with man? Is that what you think it is?
I think it's because it's forceful, it's guttural, it's Dan. You know, it comes from here, like a little deep down in the chest. When you say it, it's just manly. No?
I guess you could say that.
You know,
I mean, so is something like Steve, I guess.
Steve, you think? No,
Yeah.
I don't. Steve's not manly.
No?
That Steve could wear a tutu. Someone named Steve could be wearing a tutu.
But not Dan.
Not Dan. No, Dan. Well, Dan could wear a tutu, but it would be a masculine act. Dan, with a name like Dan, you can convert even the most non-masculine act into something masculine. Which as an aside, you know, there's this guy by the name of Lacan who talks about how we are always being othered. Our identity is always being taken from us. And think about it. You didn't choose that name Dan. Somebody chose it for you.
Yes.
So even before you were born, you were the very thing that you could have been, or maybe are, was sort of taken from you in the act of naming you.
Something a little bit lost there.
Right, yeah. So being Dan was, you know, maybe you're not Dan.
Maybe.
But you have to be Dan because
I have no
that's what your parents, who came up with the name?
Well, my father has the same name.
Really?
And his father.
That's a lot of Dans.
And his father.
Really?
So
It goes on.
Yeah, didn't really have a choice.
Who's the first Dan?
The first Dan is the great-grandfather of me.
Really?
Whose name is Dan.
And he's also a Quigley.
Yes.
Because Quigley also carries with it. I mean, that's like a that's an unusual name. I don't know a lot of Quigleys.
Yeah, it's an Irish.
Irish,
kind of name.
Yeah, I'm Irish. So Rose is Irish.
Yeah, Rose.
So that's right. So Quigley is Irish. Can you trace yourself back to the?
I've tried.
Ireland or?
I don't know. My father is actually adopted, so.
Really?
Yeah. So trying to find some papers.
Oh, so this got more complicated.
Yeah, it's just.
So he was adopted.
Yes, but you know, he still gets a name. So.
Still gets a name. So you may not be Irish.
I may not be Dan.
Well, you probably aren't. You aren't Dan because whatever you are, my man Lacan says that the word murders the thing. The act of speaking and naming anything kills it. It's an act of, as soon as it enters the symbolic order, it's taxidermy from then on. So anytime someone speaks your name, they've effectively rendered you with something stuffed.
Isn't there something that says, if you label me, you negate me, or something like that?
That sounds Lacanian in a way. If you label me, you negate me. Well, actually, what we're going to talk about today, I guess we still have time to talk a bit about it, was the currently a big controversy that's brewing at the moment. The biggest thing that you can think of, right?
Gun control.
I was thinking Kim Kardashian's pregnancy, but no.
Okay.
It says gun control.
I don't know.
It's the whole thing over Proposition 8, right? The thing with gay marriage. It's big.
Yeah.
Lots of if you go on the Facebooks, you'll notice on the Facebooks.
Yes.
People are changing their what's that symbol?
They got a nice little box with an equal sign on it. And it's red.
Okay, now some other folks have turned it the opposite. The things are red and the other thing is white around it. Is that it?
I've seen some variations there.
Is that pro or con?
You know, I'm not really sure.
Not really sure.
I can't say.
Well, a couple of things strike me, because first off, this Facebooks thing, you're on the Facebooks, right?
Yes.
In fact, we are Facebook friends.
We are.
What a small world. Facebook. Are we Facebook friends? She's your Facebook friends with her?
Louisa is my Facebook friend.
She's not my friend.
I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know.
I'm hurt. Is Baltimore, does he have a...
He is. I think he has a secret Facebook that he's.
Because he's not friends with me either.
Yeah.
So, but we are Facebook friends.
Mm-hmm.
And you go on the Facebook. There's this huge movement to sort of. We don't have to. Neither of us has to sort of speak to our position on this issue, but But maybe what we could talk about, maybe because you obviously a bit younger than me, a little bit. And how old are you?
22.
See, that's younger. I have been a vegetarian longer than you've been alive. How's that?
That's quite admirable, I guess I could say.
Why? Why is that admirable?
Well, I mean, I'm a vegetarian, but it's only been a couple of years, so.
Really? Well, my kid is by force a vegetarian, so he may be a vegetarian longer than me.
Yeah.
He has no choice. I find that in anything, if you're trying to teach someone or you're trying to get someone over to your side, shame is the best way to do it.
And what about fear?
Fear works too. Yeah, with him, but he's not afraid of me. He's not really. I think he's tougher than me. But I can't shame him. You know, I can't say that if he were to eat meat, that it would kill me. That also might motivate him to eat meat. I don't know. That could be the kid may be down on a burger soon. We have two generations here, right? So,
yeah.
My generation wasn't so cool on this whole gay marriage thing initially, right?
I'd imagine so.
What about yours?
I think there's a lot of people in my age group who are kind of okay with it.
Okay with it. So, why? How come? Why would it be okay?
Well, I think, we live in America where everybody has this whole individualistic attitude, and they want to, we live in the land of the free, so I think people probably have the idea that if other people can do what they want, then they themselves can do what they want, whatever that is. So if you're restricting some people from getting married or anything else that could fall into that category, then maybe somewhere along the lines you might get restricted doing something that you want to do.
So, well, what if, and this would be sort of, what if I wanted, I don't know, marry a stuffed beaver?
I mean, if that's what you want to do.
Really?
If it's not really interfering with me, I guess,
really?
Or other people. I don't know. Could it? Could that cause some problems? We would never know. So.
I mean, I've met some nice beavers. So, I don't know if you like beavers.
Well, I wouldn't want to put that. We wouldn't want to have that limitation.
On beavers, or
for if you want to marry a beaver, that's.
Yeah.
You're talking inanimate beaver.
Well, if it's stuffed beaver, I just can't. For me, I can't see. I don't think I could ever get a beaver to love me, so it'd have to be stuffed. See, so that's really my inadequacy when I bring that up. You might be able to get a beaver to love you, but I don't think I could.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really tried, but I might see if I restrict you from marrying a stuffed beaver somewhere along the lines. Maybe that it becomes my goal. And then 20 years ago, when I said no,
you could know again. So you've faced. So, but what about? Are there people in your generation you think who would be against it, and why? Why?
Well, I think it brings up a lot of different types of questions, and I think maybe the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, would have to be the whole legal aspect of it. People who are married get certain benefits, right? Tax write-offs and whatnot, and then there's the whole
destroys your soul.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. The God will hate you and you will burn in hell for eternity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking about the institution of marriage destroying your soul, but you're saying that. Yeah. I'm just saying marriage, also has some effects. That you're not married, are you?
I'm not.
No. Okay. Well, then you don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
Okay. Well.
Thank God.
You'll be married someday, you think? Or?
I don't know. We'll see.
Know?
I mean, times
change.
There
could be a nice beaver out there.
Yeah, there could be. So I wouldn't want to. I'm waiting until maybe the laws open up a little bit.
With beavers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so there are the legal aspects. I hear this, but since technically this is ostensibly this is we're supposed to be talking about psychology, that the spiritually moves a little closer to that. So there are people who would think that that this could be a destructive act. Marrying someone of the same gender would be an act of somehow could be bad for you.
In a moral way, are you saying?
Or psychologically, maybe. I don't know.
Psychologically. Well, people have their relationships anyway, right? I mean, so what is marriage if you're already in the relationship, other than some type of?
But they might say that if the state or the government sanctions this activity, then suddenly you are opening the door for people to start doing bad things. Like if you legalize certain drugs, for instance, you're suddenly saying, you guys go ahead, do your meth,
Yeah, so many people want to do.
But, you know, it looks. Have you seen that Breaking Bad show? It looks.
I've seen it a
sexy.
couple times. I mean, hey, the guy is dying, but he is living one hell of a life. So.
He is. I don't think he actually does. I'm only on episode 19, but I don't think he actually does meth. Don't tell me if he starts.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know. He kind of looks like he.
Yeah.
He might be.
He's just sick. He's got cancer.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or had it. So, but what do you think psychologically could?
I don't really know, because if people are already in that kind of relationship already, they're already doing things. I mean, a lot of people would say, well, if you don't legalize it, people are going to do it anyway, and so you're probably, if you're one of those people who are going to wind up in a psychological situation like that, you will, regardless of whether it's permitted or not.
That is remarkably neutral. That's good.
I'm trying.
I like that. You're being. It's good. Well, let's lay out the psychological arguments real quick, because there are two things. They talk about how that some would say that, and these, by the way, would not be the American Psychological Association or the American Psychiatric Association. Mm-hmm. Both long ago decided that homosexuality is not a disease and is not considered. In fact, you could lose. You could get in trouble for saying otherwise. But there was a time when it was considered, in the 80s, up until the 80s, it was considered a disease, a mental disorder.
Yeah.
That, however, has changed. That is not the case now. So there is the adults who they think are somehow negatively impacted by this, but they talk about the children, that somehow growing up with two parents of the same gender would somehow be bad.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've seen a picture on the Facebooks. You know, it says, you know, Simba, he was raised by two men, Pumbaa and Timon, and he wound up just fine.
He was okay. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I like that.
I mean, if there
were
was
they married?
I don't know if they were. I mean, the jungle laws are a little bit different.
It could be different, yeah. They got that circle of life thing where, like, you can eat everything and then it just goes back to...
Yeah, so I don't know if there is marriage in the jungle world, but it was pretty close. You know, they hung out all the time, ate bugs together. Oh,
that's right. Yeah, that's the warthog and the
meerkat.
Meerkat. That's it. Meerkat. Yeah, yeah. I always thought that was sort of like not good for his self-esteem, just to call him merely a cat. Meerkat. Horrible joke.
Yeah.
not even funny. But so no, we don't have a lot of time, and we haven't spent a lot of time on this topic. But here we have we got the idea that there could be some would, and I think that there are studies on this, at least in the last 10 or 13 years. Doesn't seem to be much to indicate that there are anything really overtly detrimental to children being raised by same-gender parents. That seems to be the consensus at this point.
Well, usually you would want to have some type of evidence if you were arguing a certain aspect of a point. So,
yeah, but not if you want your point to be right, regardless.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, fortunately, may be entering this. I mean, that part of this debate, I think, has that.
Well, I mean,
don't confuse me with the facts, is what they often say.
Yeah. And the thing is if something's true, it's still true, whether you believe it or not.
But in fact, I think you posted that on your Facebooks.
I don't know if I did.
Did you post that?
I could have, because that's not my quote. But
yeah, but the Tyson guy.
Yes.
Not the chicken guy, but the
space guy.
Space guy. What did he say? Is science, the thing about science, it's true. It's still true even if you don't believe it.
Yep. So I don't know. I mean, maybe we just haven't had the right study yet, or maybe they never will find any evidence. But kind of makes it hard to argue your point if you don't have anything to back it up.
Yeah. So we could say then that on this issue, the psychological evidence, even in its most equivocal, seems to point that there is no smoking gun, nothing that would suggest that anything really, really bad would happen being raised by same-gender parents. In fact, if you want to look at this, and this is one to think about it psychologically, if you had the perfect parents You'd want maybe people who are upper middle class, both psychologically healthy, with psychologically healthy parents and grandparents in a whole psychologically healthy system that they come from. Mm-hmm. You'd want to be raised in the Southwest. You would want to be raised in a temperate climate. You would want to have at least one sibling who was also psychologically healthy. And if you could control all those variables, you probably could give someone the ultimate, optimum environment which you grow up in. Unfortunately, nobody gets that, right?
I didn't get that.
I didn't get it either. I didn't get it. You know, I was raised by monkeys. So let's be honest. Beavers, actually. That's what I was talking about, the beavers. Raised by beavers. I can build a dam like nobody's business. But, I mean, I can. You should see me. Why? Not having the tail, though, I felt really inadequate. If you noticed, the beavers are all about the tail.
You could probably lift more pieces of wood.
I could, yeah, I could. But I didn't. The tail, the teeth, too. I unfortunately have an underbite, which in the beaver world is like, it's just bad. Mm. Most of us don't have that, though, right? So we could say, then, that of all the variables that we should be concerned about, gender of the parent may not be on the top 10 of those variables. In fact, it may be less important, say, than having a parent that, I don't know, doesn't occasionally like pouring scalding water on you.
That's usually quite important.
That's more important. So having someone we could say that someone who is able to form a decent enough attachment with their partner, mm-hmm. and has a decent enough attachment with the people in with their parents and their parents' parents, and then might also in turn form a decent enough attachment with the child, and that would be good. And those may be the most important variables.
That is probably something that might be supported by some scientific.
It could
be. I don't know if it is. Maybe you would know.
Well, it is. In fact, it actually is. There is again both the APA and the APSA both seem to say that there's the data would suggest that you whatever your concern is, that may not be the concern. Now, the going to hell part, we can't, who knows? Well, some people say they know, but some people don't.
Yeah, I guess you find out.
You could.
But I don't know if you could share that with everyone else.
You could. We could ask Liberace. I don't know. We could, You know who Liberace is?
Doesn't he have like long hair or something?
That's Fabio.
Yeah, they kind of.
Liberace was sort of the piano player, very, very great, very. You don't know?
I've heard his name.
Liberace.
And jokes about him.
Yeah, it's a little probably before your time. I think he died before you were born.
Just a little bit.
Probably did. Well, I know we only got a few minutes left, and we're coming toward the end. And this has been a lovely conversation. And might I say that several things. You certainly smell nicer than Dr. Baltimore, because normally he's here. And but why is he not here?
He's got I don't know. He's got some meetings or
scabies is what he has. I think he has a recurring scabies problem. I think that's.
I have heard that, but I don't know how true it is.
Yeah. Lice. He's got something. What's an embarrassing thing he could have that we could spread a rumor that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a rumor spreader, so.
Sure. Well, I get we can sort of say we talked a little bit about this issue. It was fun. We managed to talk about both gay marriage and beavers, which I think if you can do that in a course of a 20-minute period, then you've hit some high points.
That's success.
Skrillex, we could bring him in. You like that Skrillex guy?
He kind of reminds me of a beaver.
He does have the hair.
Yeah.
That guy.
You might want to talk to him. You might have some.
Am I saying that right? Skrillex or?
I think so.
That's how I say it.
Yeah, I think that's
Skrillex.
I think that's how it goes.
Well, I guess we could say that this has been another episode of Got Therapy, and both Dan and I are going to be getting married soon, and
there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's right. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop love, and we're both going to get a beaver. So, adios.